You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Tigers are off this weekend, but still got good news. Jacobian Guillory announced with our guy Jordy over on Colada Show that he will, in fact, return for a sixth season. I think Jacques Doucet maybe had this a couple of weeks back, but Jacobian on the record confirmed it that he will, in fact, return to LSU for a sixth and final season. I think we all remember this story here that Guillory came back this season for his fifth year, was supposed to be your best guy on the interior, tore his Achilles in the Nichols game, and so after really just a game and a half, was out for the year, but now has announced he will return. I want to give you some perspective here and a reminder kind of what the expectation was for Jacobian Guillory. So it doesn't sound like I'm overstating the significance or importance here. Remember, after the 2023 season, you lose Mason Smith early to the draft. You lose Mekhi Wingo to the draft. Jordan Jefferson was out of eligibility. He goes into the draft. So you lost your top three guys, and you're getting Jacobian Guillory back. Remember, we all, not only, it wasn't just us, thought that was the biggest position of need, the biggest weakness, even with Guillory, right? Brian Kelly said after spring, they were looking at one position in the transfer portal. It was defensive tackle. And they went hard after Simeon Barrow, who ended up at Miami, Dominic Williams, who ended up at Oklahoma. How's that going, kid? Anyway, he got his bag. I ain't mad at him. But anyway, that's how thin you were. And Guillory was your best guy. By the way, this was Brian Kelly during spring football. This past spring, Brian Kelly on Jacobian Guillory.
In terms of stopping the run, Jacobian Guillory has been outstanding. I mean, he's singularly been, I think, in terms of what Bo Davis is looking for, he's been outstanding, and he's been a stalwart. We got to find the other guy, and that's what we're looking for. We're trying to develop that second guy, and then we'll have some depth guys behind him.
So, outstanding stopping the run. Do I need to remind you that one of the biggest issues that LSU has had defensively this year has been stopping the run? If you look at run defense, LSU this year, unfortunately, is among the worst in the country, or in the SEC at times this year, stopping the run. We've seen the big, long touchdown runs they've given up, the 75-yarder, the 66-yarder against South Carolina, the 67-yarder against Nichols, the 50-yarder against Ole Miss. Certainly we saw what happened last week with a running quarterback. So without Guillory. So, by the way, that was in spring. Brian Kelly, this was August the 26th. So this was the week of the USC game, the week of the opener. This was Brian Kelly on Jacobian Guillory.
He's been our best defensive tackle, our most consistent, starting with the tail end of last year, and that continued through the spring and into preseason camp. He's extremely strong, can hold the point, plays with great leverage and technique. He's really come along incredibly well in terms of the ability to use his hands and disengage and find the football. There's one thing to have strength, at the point of the tack, but if you can't find the football, okay. You just hold the point. What he's been able to do is use great strength, and now he's controlling the blocker and finding the football. What do I think we'll see? He's going to make a lot of tackles, and that's saying a lot for a defensive tackle.
I mean, that's Brian Kelly the week of the USC game. The week of the USC game telling you how much they were expecting from this guy, and you get him for a game and a half all season. So, yes, you were thin. He was your best guy. You lose him. Here's the positive of this season. I'm going to state the obvious, but the positive is with Guillory out, it has forced you to play a lot of other guys and get some other guys' experience. Ahmad Bro, Dominic McKinley, obviously case in point, the two. JVR Suggs has been a really good interior pass rush. He hasn't played a ton of snaps. He's been sort of a specialist as an interior rusher, but he's been very good in that role. So now when you look ahead to 2025, with Guillory coming back, look at how that position group starts to shape up. You've got Jacobian Guillory coming back. You've got Sean Washington, who's able to return, along with JVR Suggs. Ahmad Bro, Dominic McKinley, both back for their second seasons. Demyron Johnson's a freshman this year who is redshirting, but will be available for you. And then you've got 4 defensive tackle commitments. Zion Williams, Brandon Brown, Buddy Mathis, Dylan Battle. You start to look at the numbers. Now, you're going to lose Gio Paez. He was going to be a one-and-done transferring in from Washington. From Wisconsin. This was his super senior year. So Paez is done. Jalen Lee is done after this year. Paris Shand, who's been so versatile for you inside and out. He's really, since the Ole Miss game the last 3 weeks now, started at interior defensive tackle next to Paez. They've really kicked him inside and made him a 275, 280-pound tackle because he's gap sound and responsible. It's a very versatile, talented player for you. So you're losing those 3 guys, but Guillory, Washington, Bro, McKinley, Suggs, Demyron Johnson, Kimo Makanaioli potentially, if you need him back. I mean, that's 7 right there. And then the 4 guys I mentioned, Williams, Brown, Mathis, and Battle, that's 11 defensive tackles available. Now, you're probably going to have some attrition. Maybe one of those guys transfers. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Sean Washington or Kimo. I don't know. I don't know. But that's 11 right there. You're already deeper, more talented, more experienced just from jump going into spring for 2025 than you were at any point this year. And, that doesn't even count the Bo Davis development portion of this. I mean, just look at the guys on this year's team that have gotten better as the season's gone along. I mean, Ahmad Bro might be the best example of that. Paris Shand moving inside. You got guys that are just playing better. They're better coached. They're playing better. I mean, we can talk about the big plays they've given up in the run game, and I know you can't take those away. I mean, that's a part of why you are, but going into last week, you were 33rd in the country in rush defense. Right now, after a bad week, you're 48th, but think about what you did at Arkansas, how gap sound and responsible you were against Arkansas with a running quarterback and a good running game. I mean, yes, you've gotten better because of Bo Davis, and next year, the talent, the cavalry is on the way, as I continue to say, and now you're getting Jacobian Guillory back as well, which instantly makes you better. And that doesn't even count potentially dipping into the portal and trying to find a starter somewhere along the way in the transfer portal if that opportunity presents. So Jacobian Guillory returning for 2025, really significant news for LSU. A Louisiana guy from Alexandria Senior High up there at Ash who didn't want to go out with an injury. And so now it's coming back for a 6th season. It'll be pretty impactful for an LSU team that's going to have eyes on the playoff again in 2025. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.